All right. Hello. My name is Joseph Arnold, and I'm a violinist and Alexander Technique teacher, co-founder of Soulforce Music, and I'll talk about that in a little bit here. But tonight I'm going to be giving a talk here on how to motivate your students to practice. So 3 big shifts that are easy to understand, easy to implement, that can help your students feel more motivated to practice, even if they, and probably you too, have COVID fatigue. So, and who doesn't these days? We've been in lockdown for a year. And, yeah, it's starting to wear on me. I don't know about you. So if you're a music teacher, I bet you've been noticing that some of your students are having a hard time. A lot of reasons for that, and a lot of it makes sense, right? Just being in lockdown is really tough for everybody. And, especially, since there aren't any, performances to work towards, that's really tough for students and for teachers as well. I've done some Zoom recitals for my students, and that helps a little bit. But, without live in-person events, it's just really hard to stay motivated. And with all the stress and all that, it's not fun for the kids. They have to work really hard, right, to stay motivated. And so do you, probably, as a music teacher. When I have some students who aren't so motivated these days, it's very understandable. And of course, I have compassion for them. But it's also a bit of a drag. It takes more energy. It takes more energy to teach students who aren't really into it. And again, so much compassion for these students who are having a really hard time. And also compassion for you as a music teacher, having to, spend extra energy on these students, energy that maybe you don't really have to spend because you're stressed out too, and you have COVID fatigue too. So, how do we shift things here? How do we get these students more motivated? And, don't worry, I'm not going to suggest a sticker system or any other gimmicks like that. Those are fine for normal times, but we ain't in normal times no more. We need some stronger stuff. And so where are we going to start? We're going to start with you. And these 3 big shifts really have to do with you and how you are in yourself. So 1, you need excellent self-care. So important. If you are under-resourced, then there's no way that you're going to feel up for helping these students in the way that they need. And they're going to pick up on your energy in the lesson and get dragged down by that too. So you need to be taking care of yourself even better than normal, like way better than normal. And I'm going to talk about some things to do that, how to do that. 2, you need a change in mindset. I'm going to talk about a simple shift of mindset that will help you connect to what's really important in playing music and help your students connect to that. And connecting to this important thing is in itself motivating. It's intrinsically motivating. So we'll talk about that change of mindset, and I'll also offer kind of a new map of teaching. Sometimes lack of motivation comes from focusing on one area of teaching without really realizing it, focusing too much on that, and maybe leaving out other areas of great importance. So we'll have a new map. So, excellent self-care, change of mindset, a new map. So, self-care piece first. So, when I'll just share what I do, and you can take stock of your own the things that help you in your life. So what I do when teaching in general, but also especially before working with a student who is not very motivated to be there, not very motivated to practice, I do a couple things. One, I check in with my body. I notice that my body feels kind of heavy, like, ugh, just a little bit of that, I'm sure you can relate. Yeah, and so I know I've also been doing way too much sitting, too much screen time. So it's important to, if you're teaching via a video conference of some kind, get up and move your body. All right, if your body is feeling uncomfortable just throughout the day in general, but especially before and after lessons with students that are having a harder time with motivation, get up and move your body. And it can be just free movement. And if it looks silly, that's fine. If you just do it by yourself in your room and just let yourself move in whatever way feels good to you. Just sort of ask your body, what would feel really good to do right now? And then do that. Get up out of your chair. I'm doing this in my chair right now, just because I'm live streaming. But if you get up and move, that'll help a lot. And another is a little breathing technique that you can do. This is really, really effective for very quickly reducing stress levels. All right. So I learned this from polyvagal theory. You don't need to know that, but that's where I got this from. It's adapted from ancient yogic breathing techniques. So simple. So what you do is you purse your lips and you blow out very slowly. Take a deep breath. You blow out very slowly through pursed lips. The longer you do it, the greater the effect. You can also do it with like a whispered ah, like ocean breath. That also works. You can hiss like that. So let's do one of those together right now. Whichever of these three variations, the ocean breath, pursed lips, or hissing, that works best for you. And you can discover that on your own. Just pick one, and let's do a deep breath, very long, slow out breath. I already feel lighter, and it's not exactly more energized, but it's a little bit clearer. I feel a little bit clearer, and that helps. It helps reduce some of the that can come from yet another Zoom lesson. All right, so maybe there are other things that really work for you, going for a walk, lying down for just a couple of minutes. That's something that a lot of people don't realize they can do. You can lie down on the floor for a couple of minutes. That could be very restorative. This breathing technique, and just moving your body around. So those are self-care pieces, and of course all the other things: eat well, get lots of sleep, etc. So, then do it. Make sure that you do these things that actually help you. All right, so that's excellent self-care. Number 2 is mindset. So the second thing that you really need to know in order to motivate yourself and your students, because those two things are absolutely linked, is about the having mode versus the being mode. So this applies to life in general, but it definitely applies to what we care about in teaching and what students care about in their teachers. If you think back to really great teachers that you've known, maybe your own teachers or teachers you've met, These are, like, what's really touched you about these people, right? What's, why did they leave such an impression with you? Is it merely their vast knowledge or technical skills? Maybe. I kind of sense that, there's something deeper. They really touch our lives. The really important teachers in our lives move us and show us something deeper in ourselves that we didn't even know was there. Right? So, and teachers who aren't so great, or let me put that differently. The teachers that may not focus on that deeper thing are ones that often get more burnt out and suffer more from COVID fatigue, and whose students struggle more. So, an example of the having mode, like a motto for the having mode is, this student needs to learn this knowledge and these skills, and I'm the one to teach them. So it's like teacher, student, unidirectional. Success looks like they have the knowledge and the skills. They have the knowledge and the skills, having mode. Failure means that they haven't learned these, or they haven't learned it to your predetermined metric. The having mode often leads to frustration in both student and teacher, because it's externally motivated. The goal is external to the student. And of course we have to have goals like that, but solely focusing on, okay, the student has this repertoire, the student has this section down, the student has this skill now, can lead to a more forceful kind of attitude in the teacher. Like, just, why won't they get it? That kind of a question. That question, why won't they get it, is predicated on the having mode. That there's something for them to get, and if they don't get it, then they failed, or maybe you failed as a teacher. This is a mindset that leads to burnout. Having mode. The alternate here is the being mode. The being mode says there's something beautiful inside the student, and it's my job to discover it and help them develop it. Yeah, it's a very different feeling, doesn't it? There's something beautiful inside the student, and it's my job to help them discover it and develop it. So success in this, in the being mode, and notice that the focus is on the student's beingness, not the things that they know, that they have, the skills that they have. The focus is on their beingness. And success means that the student has gotten in touch with this in themselves, and they have discovered something in themselves they didn't know that they had, and they have been able to develop that with your help. And failure of the being mode is the having mode. Focusing too much on acquisition of skills and knowledge rather than the discovering and developing of something beautiful inside the student. So, right, that's the having mode and the being mode. So how do we actually go about teaching this? Well, first, you gotta recognize your own approach. What's going on in your approach to teaching? Being on the receiving end of a having mode teacher ain't fun, because there's always this little conditional approval. I will give you approval only if you get the notes right. That's not fun. And if you want your lessons to go more smoothly and be more fun, then you might consider ways in which you can inhabit the being mode and focus on the being mode of the student. So I'm going to show you this little image I came up with. This is called the Fractal of Music. So up on the top of the screen, you can see notes. All right, so this is a lot of what we focus on in teaching music, especially to young ones. We teach them the notes, and we help them get the notes right. Another thing that we can teach, which is a little bit deeper, is techniques. Individual techniques help them get the notes better, right? And we can focus on techniques. And then sound quality. Sound quality is a little bit more nuanced than mere techniques. And so that's also something that we can focus on that's valuable. And then, of course, expression and emotion, dynamics, articulations. Beginning to tell a story with the music. So all of this is what I consider, just in my own opinion, to be conventional music pedagogy. All right, conventional in the sense that this is what people typically think of in terms of teaching music. And the having mode really lives up here, let's say. So getting the notes right, getting the techniques right, having a clear sound, getting the right expressions, etc. So deeper than this is quality of movement. This is a lot about what the Alexander technique looks at. So is the student getting tighter or freer in their bodies as they play this or that section of the piece? This is so important, so important. And it's actually a lot of fun for students, I find. It gives them a real sense of capability to have some tools around quality of movement, to be able to move more freely when they play, to use less tension. It feels better, and it helps them sound better. And they can hear it, they can feel it. And then quality of attitude, or quality of thinking. So, some examples of this are more like narrow, forceful kind of attitude, or what says, I have to do it fast and I have to get it right, or a more open kind of attitude, like I'm at ease with myself and I have plenty of time. There are lots of other examples. Your scope of attention, if you're really got tunnel vision going on and so you're missing things, or if you have a broader, more easeful awareness going on. That's part of this as well. There's a lot to say there that I won't get into right now. But we will have videos on this on my on the Soulforce Music YouTube channel. So then, finally, at the bottom here, quality of being and Soulforce. So Soulforce is, to me, the deepest reason why we play music. And Soulforce is that quality that really inspires others. And when we do something difficult or face life challenges with courage and compassion, creativity, connection, playfulness, really, really powerful performances are ones that have Soulforce. And, of course, I, with my colleague Aaron, we are developing this Soulforce Music School, learning how to teach this. And so let me just say, overall, that all the levels are necessary. Just because this is the deepest one in my estimation doesn't mean that it's more important than the notes. You need to get the notes right in order to express Soulforce, etc. But merely getting the notes right is not sufficient for Soulforce and playing from the heart and really a deep emotional connection. It's just that these things down here in the post-conventional pedagogy, these are the things that are often ignored. And ignoring them leads to burnout and injuries. All right, so that's the fractal of music. So what you might do is just consider where on the fractal you typically teach. You know what? Maybe I'll bring that up one more time. Where do you typically teach to? Where are your strengths? Where are your weaknesses? Which ones make no sense whatsoever? Just take stock of that. Maybe there's something that you could include in your teaching that would really help. Noticing the student's quality of movement, noticing their attitude, noticing and being in touch with just that simple quality of being, their essence, the connection that you have with them. That can oftentimes make all the difference in how you feel and how the student feels when you teach. Okay, I've been talking a long time. We're going to wrap this up. So, in order to motivate your students, in the COVID times, you need to motivate yourself. You need to inspire yourself. You need to take care of yourself. Excellent self-care. You need a new mindset, the being mode, rather than the having mode. Developing something or discovering together with the student their inner resources. 3, you need a new map of teaching, something like the fractal of music, so you're not just focusing on getting the notes right, to the exclusion of other things that are connected to that for the students. All right, so if any of this speaks to you, and if you're watching all the way to the end, I'm assuming that it does, we'd love to hear from you. If you have some of these challenges around motivation for yourself or your student, or it just sounds like really interesting stuff, because it does to me, this is why I'm talking about it, then please do reach out to us, soulforcemusicschool@gmail.com. We don't have our website up yet, but it will be soulforcemusic.com. You can go to my website, josepharnold.com, to contact me. Because we're going to be coming out with a whole slew of offerings for musicians, performers, teachers, students, real life problems, and we're going to teach you all how to encounter these problems and resolve them in our special Soulforce way, which is uniquely powerful and fun and feels really, really good when you get it. So, anyway, please do reach out. We'd love to hear from you. That's all for now.